Again, I'm Jessica Farrell from the Lafayette campus in the career office. And as I was saying, this is one of my favorite presentations, where to find internship and job positions, job opportunities. Really what we're looking for are the applications themselves. Where do you find those opportunities to apply to? So let me share my screen here and open up our presentation. And again, if there's any audio visual issues throughout, just let me know. So one thing I like to talk about when it comes to the job search itself, whether you're looking for internships, we'll spend a little more time talking about those as well in a few minutes, or even what we would call full-time opportunities, opportunities related to your future career, to your program or major. Even if you're looking for part-time seasonal opportunities, it can take several months. And I'm pretty blunt. I won't sugarcoat things. It will always seem as if you're spending more time applying for jobs than the return you're getting on that. And there's no science involved with this. It's just an estimate. But many people who work in career services, career development, even human resources staff, HR staff at businesses have noticed this. A general rule, again, not set in stone, and it's not to sound scary, it's just to give you the heads up about the job search process. But a general rule is for every 50 to 60 applications, sometimes even 100 applications, you may get about 10 interviews, which could then lead to 1 or 2 job offers. So again, it's not to make it sound scary, it's just to help going into that process. And at the same time, we're also not saying to blanket apply to job opportunities. You still do want to do a little bit of tailoring. But that's why we always recommend that you start early. So if anyone's looking for internships or some type of part-time or any type of experience related to your Ivy Tech program or major, if you're looking for that for the spring semester, definitely start now. And even if you're looking for the summer, for summer 2021, you may want to start looking through some of those opportunities. And again, in a few minutes, we'll talk about where to find those applications. Same thing with full-time career-related positions. Certainly, if you're going to be applying for opportunities that would start in January, if you're going to be graduating and finishing up in December, start now. But even same thing, even if you're going to be finishing up next May, start looking for those opportunities now. And I also will talk a little bit about networking in this presentation. I know we've had some really fantastic other workshops during career camp where they've discussed networking, but we'll touch on networking a little bit in this presentation. And then just one other item to keep in mind. When you do finish your Ivy Tech degree, when you finish your credential, maybe you want to go on and get some additional training, more education, possibly go on and get a bachelor's degree. So those of us who work in the career offices at your Ivy Tech campuses, please feel free to reach out to us and we can talk a little bit more about your future career path. We love doing that and just get some more information for you. So let's talk a little bit about where to find the job postings, but any questions so far? Great, so let me move ahead. I just have to go forward in the PowerPoint here. And we'll spend a little bit of time talking about where those job opportunities are. And I'm just being nosy here, but I'm seeing a few other career coaching and employer connection staff here, so we'll say hello to them. And thank you to all of our students who've joined us as well within the past few minutes. So let's take a look at where you will find those job postings. And as I was saying earlier, I am pretty blunt, so I'll just come out and say it. I tell it like it is. Usually, there are plenty of places to find the job opportunities, the job postings themselves. They're usually posted somewhere. And in a few minutes, I'm going to break down each of these sources: Hire Ivy, Indiana Career Connect, IndianaIntern.net, and we'll also spend some time talking about some other generic websites as well as employer websites.
Jessica, if I could stop you before we get too much farther, I'm getting some feedback that maybe students are not able to unmute and comment or comment in the chat. I wonder if I could get a student who'd be willing to try and unmute and even just say hello, or to test sending something in the chat.
Yes, that would be great. Is that working now? Oh, good, we have a chat.
Hello.
Great, thank you. Wonderful.
Hi.
Hello, that's great, thank you.
But I still can't chat in the chat box.
All right, let me see here.
Yeah, I can't either.
All right.
We'll see if we can get that fixed real quick. And if not, this will be the chattiest session. We'll need you to.
I think I've changed the settings on that. So everyone should be able to now chat and then also unmute themselves.
Yeah,
How
it's
does
great.
that
Thank
look?
you.
Wonderful. I have to apologize. I'm still figuring out Zoom. Great. I'm glad to see it's working.
It's a learning process.
Pardon?
It's a learning process.
It is, yes. Thank you everyone for being patient. So speaking of technology, this is a nice segue into another discussion I like to have during this presentation. I'll try to make a long story short, but back in the day, before all of this technology existed, we used to mail in applications. We would mail our resume into businesses and employers to be considered for opportunities. And hold on to that thought, because this is going to play a role in how you apply to jobs today, and also how your resume is screened when it comes to being considered for an interview. And I'll mention this again at the end of the presentation, but at 2 p.m., Aaron Schneider, who's one of our career coaches for South Bend Elkhart, he'll be doing an interviewing prep presentation. So be sure to get to that, because that's the second part of the process. In addition to applying for jobs, it's getting those interviews. So talking a little bit about that prep. But thank you for bearing with me. I tend to go off on tangents, but I will connect it all together again. But going back to the technology, this whole process has now moved online. Instead of having to look through newspaper or classified ads or going to businesses, or even for college students, I would say, you know, pre-1999, our career offices, we would actually have binders full of paper job postings that businesses would send us, and students would come into the office and go through the paper job postings, which was great. We always loved seeing you in our career offices. But over the past several years, with all of this great technology, that whole job application process moved online. And thank you, Lisa, for mentioning that. We also used to use the libraries quite a bit as well. But to make it a little bit easier, more accessible, and because of the technology now, this whole process has moved online. So you can now search for job opportunities through various websites. And let's start off our conversation with internships. We'll spend a little bit of time talking about IndianaIntern.net and also Higher IB. So for those of you who are currently in your programs, in your IB Tech programs, consider some type of internship or even a work and learn experience where you have the opportunity to get connected with an employer, an organization, or a business to learn more about that field, what you would be doing working in that particular career or job. And when it comes to internships, many students have asked me, they've said, why would an employer want to hire, if it's a paid position, why would they want to hire a candidate to work as an intern? Or even if it's not unpaid, why would they want to why would they want to hire someone to work in that field before they have their degree? Well, they really do want the opportunity to help a current student learn more about that field. And I'm just noticing in the chat here that the sound was a little off, so I apologize. We've had a little bit of connection issues here at the Lafayette campus, so we're working on it. But they really do want the opportunity to help people gain experience in that field. So
Jessica, we may have lost you altogether that time.
Oh no.
how is this?
Very echoey.
How is that now?
Still experiencing some heavy feedback through echo.
Is that a little bit better?
Yes.
How does that sound?
It's a bit better, but there is still some echo.
Yeah. All right. How's that now?
Much better.
All right. I apologize about that. Believe it or not, I'm on campus using the computer equipment, but I think we're having some issues with it. So my apologies about that. We'll see if we can get the audio back. But for now, what I'll do is let me go into a little bit of detail about the internship opportunities. So with the internships, again, students were wondering, why would an employer want to hire, if it's a paid position, or why would they want to take on someone who hasn't yet finished their degree? And in some ways, they are doing a good deed. They are helping that student to learn more about careers in that field, to learn more about what's part of that job. So I would really encourage, and all of us in the career services and career coaching employer connections, we really do encourage you to think about going ahead and looking for an internship opportunity. And Jessica Jagger from our Indianapolis campus has also shared IndianaIntern.net. So let's open up that website and take a look at some of that information there. I'll start sharing my screen again in a minute as well, so we can see that. And I would encourage everyone, if you haven't done so already, to go ahead and set up an Indiana Internet account.
because we have a lot of great employers and businesses and organizations who post at indianaintern.net. So this is a great way to find out about those opportunities. And as you can see here, they're also talking a little bit about micro internships. So sometimes internships, they may be a certain amount of time, they may be 2, 3, or 4 months long, might be part-time, might be full-time. Micro internships are a little more interesting because it's a shorter amount, it's a shorter time commitment. So again, it might be a great way to find out more about the field that you're going into, that you're interested in, but with a shorter time commitment. So definitely when you get a chance, set up your Indiana Internet account. But we also wanted to talk a little bit about Higher Ivy. And some of you may have already had the chance to go into your Higher Ivy account. And so what I would say is the best way to access this is from your My Ivy account. And this is my Higher Ivy account. So if you are on the dashboard or the front page of your My Ivy, click on Higher Ivy. There's so many names with the word Ivy in them. But you might have to do the email authentication when you first set up your Higher Ivy account. But once you've done that, you'll be able to start looking for job postings, including internships in there. And what happens is those of us who work in the career offices at the Ivy Tech campuses, we get a lot of businesses and employers contacting us, wanting to hire, wanting to get applications from you, from Ivy Tech students and alumni. And I know we're biased here, but we do have some wonderful programs and majors here at Ivy Tech. And all of you are wonderful students. You're in demand. These employers do want to hire you. They want to get applications from you. So to make it a little bit easier, what we've done is the college uses Higher Ivy for those job opportunities. So when businesses reach out to us wanting to get applications from all of you, we'll have them posted in Higher Ivy. And many of the internships in Indiana Internet are also copied over into Higher Ivy, but it's still good to have an account with Indiana Internet as well. So this is, again, Higher Ivy, and you have a lot of great resources to take advantage of, as you can see on the left navigation bar here. But with the job and internship boards, I'm just going to open up that here. This is where you can find the ones specifically in Higher Ivy. So I'll just click on that one. And yours may look a little bit different depending on how you've set up your profile, but you'll be able to access some really great job applications from here. And as you can see, we also have Indiana Internet there as well. I'll talk about Indiana Career Connect in a minute, and also Indeed. But there are the government and nonprofit job boards also. So in addition to Higher Ivy, a lot of great connections to some other job posting sites there. Any other questions or comments? I've seen some of the questions in the chat with the micro internships. And in terms of those counting, yes, it would be something that you would have to, I'm assuming I see your question there, Jessica, too, about if it's going to count for credit. That would be something to talk about with the program chair or the faculty in the specific program. And I think there is a PDF for the session as well toward the top of the chat. Any other questions or comments? So I want to play a short video here about internships, the importance of them, because it's a really great way to, again, learn about your particular field or that particular type of job. So let's keep our fingers crossed. Since I was having some audio issues, let's keep our fingers crossed we'll play the video and we'll be able to hear. There we go.
Hey, Jessica, when you shared your screen, did you check the box to share computer audio?
Yes, I did. Oop. Let's turn that off. So I'll try and see if I can play that in a minute. But what I'm showing you here are the career spots, and these are available from the statewide career development site, soon to also be called Career Coaching and Employer Connections. So when you go on that website there, you'll be able to watch some of those career spots. They're here from as well. So I'll see if I can get the audio taken care of and see if we can watch that in a minute. But what's nice is, again, there are businesses and organizations out there who are wanting to, again, hire students or mentor students so they learn more about their particular field or industry. And then in terms of where to find the job opportunities, we also have Indiana Career Connect. So I'll open up that one as well. Is everyone still able to see the screen? Okay, great, wonderful. So what's nice with Indiana Career Connect, again, these are jobs across the state, usually more focused on positions that are full-time, permanent opportunities, but it's still another really great resource. We do have a number of businesses posting in there as well. So that would be another really great place to look for those job opportunities. And then we were also mentioning a little bit about Indeed and what I would call some of the, for lack of a better way of saying this, generic job posting sites. So you have Indeed, Monster, Glassdoor. Those are still very valuable as well. They may not necessarily be specific to a certain area, but you also want to include those in your job search also. It's really one of those instances where it's great to be able to apply to more jobs, be able to have access to more jobs than not enough. And let me also talk a little bit about employer websites. So today, as we were talking about, because most job postings they're somewhere posted online as opposed to going to the career service offices or the library or looking through the newspaper classifieds. Because they're posted somewhere online, many businesses now will post those job opportunities on their own employer or company websites. And again, I'll be blunt, I won't sugarcoat it. When you are looking for job opportunities, whether it's internships, part-time, full-time, you really do want to put together a list of businesses, of employers that you would be interested in working for. Because many organizations will only post their jobs on their own company website. So for example, and I'll just use a simple one, if someone's looking for medical assisting positions, they would probably would want to put together a list of the local hospitals, medical clinics, healthcare places, and then start looking for jobs on those websites as well. And again, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. That's a little bit time consuming, having to put together a list of employers to look for job opportunities. But this is also where the internet can be very helpful by when you're putting together your list, your customized list of employers, take a look at the ones that do post through Hire Ivy, Indiana Career Connect, IndianaIntern.net, or whatever location you're looking for, if it's outside of the state as well. But again, as you're putting together your customized list of employers, certainly reach out to us in the career offices and we can help you with that process as well. Any questions, comments so far? And thank you, Jessica, for the information about the work and learn in the chat. So here, we're spend a little bit of time about networking and how it relates to the job search process. And I know that we did have a networking presentation yesterday, so I'll just continue a little bit of that conversation. But I want to start off with this part here when it comes to everyone you know. And like I said, I'm blunt, but when we are looking for work, any of us, when people are looking for work, they sometimes won't tell everyone that they know that they're looking. They may say to themselves, well, cousin so-and-so, they don't work in the field I want to be in. Or aunt so-and-so, I don't think she'll know anyone. Don't do that. Don't assume that you know everyone that the people in your network know. Don't assume that you know everyone that cousin so-and-so knows or aunt so-and-so knows. You really do want to tell everyone you know that you're looking. And you may also be assuming, well, they know that I'm just going to use the medical assisting example again. They know that I'm in medical assisting at Ivy Tech. I'm going to be finishing soon. Of course, they would know I'm looking for work. Well, it's still good to reach out to everyone you know in your network and just gently remind them that you're going to be finishing up and looking for positions, or you'd like to know about internship or part-time opportunities. So literally tell everyone you know that you're looking. Friends, family members, faculty, instructors, neighbors, people you've worked with before or volunteered with in the past. You just don't know everyone that they know. And also, maybe someone in your network, maybe let's just call say cousin Ivy, your cousin Ivy finally meets a neighbor who lives 4 doors down from them, and that neighbor works at a business or organization that you would just love to be at. Well, if you've been, again, networking with them, then that will help to find out about those opportunities as well. And I saw another question in the chat in terms of criminal justice major style jobs, internships or jobs within the school. So Jeremy, would be positions within the school or just with any organization? Because I'll just say in general, it doesn't always really matter in terms of where it's at. But I would say when you're looking, especially for positions within your field, within your program, it's also good to start off with your faculty and instructors in your program. Again, I'm biased, but Ivy Tech is unique in that many of our faculty instructors have significant work experience. They have a lot of great connections in the community with organizations, and some of them are still working. Many of our adjunct instructors, they still work, for lack of a better way of saying this, a 9-to-5 job. So they can have some really great connections for you when it comes to looking for a position related to your program, whether it's criminal justice or another one. And then if you're also looking for opportunities within the school, again, reach out to those of us. I'm sure no one will mind if I volunteer, those of us in the career offices, and we can help you find some of those opportunities. But yes, definitely let everyone you know that you're looking. Another really good resource when it comes to finding job opportunities are what we call professional societies and organizations. So these are organizations that are related to that particular field, whether it's medical assisting or accounting, for instance. And I'll be honest with you, even working in career services, I've sometimes struggled with where do I find the list of professional societies related to such and such program or major. So let's toggle back to our browser, and I'm going to open up another website, and I'm going to start the sharing again in a minute.
Jessica, while you're doing that, you have a question in the chat. Looking for advice related to criminal justice majored style jobs, internships. Any feedback on that?
Yes, so that's where also networking can play a really big role. Again, not a guarantee, but many of the faculty and instructors in that program have had, for lack of a better way of saying this, real world experience. You know, they've worked in that field. So I would definitely recommend reaching out to faculty and instructors in that area and seeing if they would be able to provide any suggestions. And also, again, reaching out to us, those of us in the career office, in terms of searching for those opportunities for that. And then also taking advantage of Higher Ivy and Indiana Internet. I think I've done a lot of plugging of Higher Ivy and the rest of those, but I can't say it enough. They're really great resources. But this is a really nice segue too into another website that I want to share with all of you. So let me start the screen share again here. Again, this is our statewide career site. And if you scroll down to this section here for information for students and alumni, and scroll down to the bottom again, this is where we also have a link to Higher Ivy and IndianaIntern.net. But the site I really do want to share with all of you is this one here. What can I do with this major? And just to let you know, you can only access this website from the career development site, from the Ivy Tech site, just because the two are connected. So when you go to what can I do with this major or program and view all the majors and programs, or you can do a search. Going back to the criminal justice, there was the law and justice one there too. But let's just click on accounting because it's at the beginning of the alphabet. So what we really love about this site is it tells you the different areas that you can be working in with your degree, with your major, and list some strategies there. And then all the way at the bottom, they also list more program-specific job boards or job posting websites. So again, in addition to Higher Ivy, Indiana Career Connect, the global sites, nationwide sites like Indeed and Monster, and also the, you know, looking for opportunities on company websites, you also have employment websites, job posting websites specifically for this type of field. But going back to the professional associations, this is where they also list those. So again, for accounting, or whatever field you're in, when you look up your particular program on this website, you can find out what are some of those professional societies or associations related to your field. And some of them, I'll be honest, some of them do have yearly membership fees. It might be lower for students, or they may not charge students. But again, when you join, you can learn more about that particular field and continue to network with others who work in that field. So I highly recommend taking advantage of this website. And partly because, again, I'll just come out and say it, partly because Ivy Tech has purchased access to this. And if, you know, people just want to shout out, whose money has Ivy Tech used to purchase access to this website? Or you can put it in the chat box. It's your money. So your money has been used to purchase this. So you've actually purchased this access. So definitely take advantage of this resource as you're going through your job search when looking for any type of job opportunities. So let's talk a little bit more about some of these other networking sources when it comes to your job search. And I left this in the presentation, the on-campus events, the career fairs. So as we all know, with the safety precautions in place with COVID-19, most of the campuses do not have the in-person events. But this is why we are offering virtual events. So we have this fantastic career camp during fall break. Thank you again to Mary King and Jessica Jagger for putting this together. And I'll just do get in my soapbox here and do a quick plug. There's also going to be some additional virtual events, both statewide and on your campuses, related to your campuses during the first week of November. So that will be November 2nd through 6th. And mark the date, Thursday, November 5th, Ivy Tech will have a statewide internship fair. So that'll be another great opportunity if you're looking to do some networking, learn more about internships, the employers who are looking for internships. That will be a great networking event to attend to find out about internship opportunities. And the reason why internship opportunities and even entry-level jobs, the types of jobs that you're going to be pursuing when you finish your degree, the reason why they're so valuable, it's a way to get your foot in the door, so to speak. This is how you can start to develop an internal networking. So make connections with people who are currently working in that field, in that company. It's all good. Any connections you can make will always be helpful. And speaking of connections, let's talk a little bit about online networking. I think what we'll do is we'll look more at LinkedIn first. So LinkedIn, and I know that there had been a presentation on LinkedIn yesterday as well, but I just want to quickly mention LinkedIn because it is going to be part of your job search. LinkedIn, for whatever reason, has become the professional networking site. And I'm going to, again, get on my soapbox here. I apologize if I sound like I'm lecturing, but this just means so much to me and all of us in the career services offices at Ivy Tech. We really want everyone to have a LinkedIn account. As I was saying, it's become the professional networking site over the past several years. I think it launched in 2010. And what I'm noticing about LinkedIn, what I've really started to notice over the past 2 to 3 years, many more employers also have their jobs posted in LinkedIn. And for those career staff who are also on the presentation, feel free to chime in, but I think LinkedIn actually goes through websites and captures those job postings, if that's correct. And then what they do is they post them on LinkedIn. And some employers also use LinkedIn themselves. They will have a LinkedIn page about their business on there. So you can find out more about an organization you want to work for. You can look for their job postings and even apply to the job postings through LinkedIn. So having that LinkedIn account is really valuable. And initially, just having it set up, you're basically copying the information from your resume into the LinkedIn account, the summary, the education, the experience section, any other activities. And I've also noticed LinkedIn has become more college student friendly over the past several years. You can even list courses you've taken, projects you've worked on. It'll be very valuable in your job search. And then let's spend a little bit of time talking about the social media, more the personal accounts. But I also see here in the chat about career fairs, if it's a in-person fair, we do recommend having a resume with you. Now, some businesses, they may conduct interviews on the spot at a career fair, but you'll probably notice many times it's more called a career fair versus a job fair when it's an event held at a college. Because again, the purpose of it is to provide more information about working at that company and that industry and that fair. If someone were to attend a company-specific fair, and being in the Lafayette area, I'm just going to use the easiest example. So for one of our manufacturers, Wabash National, they're having a job fair tomorrow at their location, an in-person job fair. And there they would expect people to bring resumes, and possibly they might be making job offers on the spot. So it's a little bit different depending on the event, whether it's a quote unquote career information fair that the college is holding versus a job fair that a business is holding. But yes, I'll say it again, just keep an eye out for that internship fair, virtual. It's a virtual event on November 5th. But going back to the Facebook, Twitter, Instagram discussion, many businesses also have accounts on these platforms, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And I'm also noticing that they're posting their jobs on there as well. Looking at the Lafayette area and the 10 counties that we serve, we follow a lot of our employer partners on Facebook, and we'll repost those job opportunities so that our students can see them. So we are noticing that a number of businesses are starting to post their jobs on the social media accounts as well. And sometimes they even will put tips or hints into their postings. How can you increase your chances of being considered for an interview when you apply? One word of caution, and I hear this quite a bit from human resources staff, HR staff, and I apologize, it's time consuming to do this, but it could pay off in the long run. But if you are going to follow employers and businesses on the social media sites, you may want to set up a separate account. So still keep your personal Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, keep those personal, and maybe set up some high-level security on them. But then set up your career-related Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram account. Use your Ivy Tech email. You will have access to my Ivy and your Ivy Tech email for up to 2 years after your last class. So that way you can keep your personal and your career related. And using your Ivy Tech Facebook or Twitter, Instagram accounts, the ones you set up with your Ivy Tech email, then you can use those to follow those businesses that you're interested in and would want to consider applying for jobs there. So I know that we want to save some time for questions and also let you hop on over to the interviewing prep portion, the interviewing prep presentation of Career Camp, because as we were chatting about earlier, that's the whole point in terms of looking for job postings, submitting your resume and cover letter is hopefully will lead to an interview. But one more thing before we start to wrap up, I've also had students and candidates ask me after they've submitted the resume or resume and cover letter, when they've applied for a job, should they then call or email the employer or organization? And I'm going to say yes and no. I won't give the easy answer because it varies. So now that the whole process has moved online, applying to jobs, we may not always really know who the contact person is. But if you have the time and you're really interested in opportunity, you can even go ahead and call the main phone number for that business. or email what we call the general inbox, you know, the info@company.com, and just let them know that you've applied for the opportunity, you're very interested, hope to hear from them soon. Is there a good chance that you may not necessarily connect with anyone? Yes, but the few times that you do, when you may be forwarded to someone in human resources, or you may be connected to the manager or supervisor of the position, that can be very valuable. So unless they specifically say no phone calls, no emails, it could be worthwhile just to reach out to them. And then here in the presentation, I have the link to those career spots videos. What I might do is just, again, showcase those, because there's some really great advice there. So they have ones about getting ready for your career, the job search, internship information. Speaking of the job search, they also have a bunch of videos on the virtual job search, because that's now taken on a whole new role with the COVID-19 situation. So I realize everyone's very busy, but most of these are very short, so you can watch them for 5 or 10 minutes, take a short study break for that. So I wanted to thank everyone today for joining, coming to the job search presentation. And I apologize that the audio on my computer decided to not work. So we weren't able to watch the videos, but I'm glad I had the opportunity to chat with all of you and just go into a little more detail about all of those job posting opportunities that are out there. And they are, and all of you are in demand. You're going to be very competitive interview candidates. But as we were saying, this is the first part of the search, is finding those job opportunities. The next piece is going to be getting ready for interviews. And again, Aaron will be presenting on that at 2 p.m. Any additional questions? Anything that you thought I would have covered that wasn't included? Well, thank you again to all of our fantastic Ivy Tech students. It was wonderful seeing all of you. I'm glad you had the chance to come and drop into the session. Reach out to any of us in the career offices on your campuses. And I see that Mary's put in the link for the interview prep session, the next one that starts at 2. So we'll give you a few minutes to take a short break before you hop onto that presentation. Take care, everyone, and thank you again.